Just 2 days ago, Noah had barely escaped with his life after his comrades were brutally massacred. And now he was learning the skills of a phantom ranger from a beautiful soldier. The world was definitely upside down. Victoria was leading him straight to his enemies, and it looked like they were getting closer. But if they were closing in on the other army, why hadn't they run into anyone yet? Was Victoria hiding something? Noah pushed the suspicious thoughts away, scolding himself for doubting her. Gradually, Noah began to feel drowsy. He quickly stood up to stretch and added more firewood to the campfire. Heavy rain was still pouring down, but Victoria continued to sleep peacefully. The rain stopped by midnight, and Noah found a spot to sit down. He used his focus technique to regulate his breath and quickly recover his strength. He soon entered a state of heightened awareness, where he could sense any approaching danger at a moment's notice. Fortunately, the night passed without incident. At dawn, Noah opened his eyes to find Victoria changing her bandages, exposing a large area of herself. Noah couldn't help but stare until he heard her ask, "Like what you see?" Embarrassed, he looked away. Damn it, sorry. I'll go get us something to eat. I'll be right back." Victoria watched as Noah hurriedly left in a flustered state, and she couldn't help but smile. She hadn't felt like this for a long time now. But then, another thought about her family entered her mind, and just like that, her smile was gone. She poked at the dying embers of the campfire, lost in thought. Noah returned and found the campfire dying and Victoria still deep in thought. He quickly added some dry kindling to the fire and put the wild chickens he had hunted to roast. He then stoked the fire, making it much larger. Victoria glanced at Noah awkwardly, and then quickly looked away. She looked up at the sky, checked her wristwatch, and began inspecting her weapons. Noah noticed how weird she was behaving, but he chose not to pry. Although Victoria had selflessly taught him combat techniques, they weren't close enough to share secrets yet. Half an hour later, after finishing their meal, they picked up the pace. Victoria's wound had already scabbed over, and she was walking much better now. Their speed increased significantly. By noon, when Noah was about to find a place to get some food, Victoria quickened her pace. "We need to move faster. If you're hungry, eat some wild fruits. We'll worry about dinner later." Noah agreed without asking why. "Sounds good." They increased their pace again, almost jogging through the forest. They had already wasted too much time, and Noah was worried about the enemy escaping. If he let them get away this time, he would never forgive himself. Along the way, Victoria looked for the enemy's traces on the ground, observing subtle signs like a tiny broken branch, a vague footprint, a piece of bark rubbed off by something. From these, she determined the direction and a route, and taught these tracking skills to Noah. Having grown up as a hunter, Noah picked up these skills quickly, mastering them after being taught just once. Victoria was impressed, but she didn't let it show on her face. At dusk, they arrived at a canyon and found an abandoned camp in a wooded area. Victoria crouched by the fire pit. "Look at the traces on the ground, the burnt soil. The enemy camped here. The moonlight is good tonight. We'll keep moving through the night. Any objections?" Her tone was enough to tell Noah that voicing his objections was absolutely not an option. No problem." "Good. Let's get some food first. Once we move forward, we won't be able to start a fire to cook. Roast all the food and let's pack it with us. You never know when it might come in handy. Remember, the key to jungle warfare is to always plan ahead. This includes ammunition, food, shelter, and medicines too." Noah nodded solemnly, taking her words seriously. If Victoria was earnestly reminding him, it meant it was very important. Noah and Victoria worked together to start a fire and cook their food. Once they were full, they dried the leftover meat into a jerky to pack with them. They continued their trek through the deep forest under the bright moonlight, moving swiftly and silently. By midnight, Noah felt like he couldn't go on anymore. He hadn't slept for 3 days. Victoria, on the other hand, was severely injured and had just recovered from a serious illness. Seeing her powering through like this, Noah felt embarrassed about his fatigue. The thought of his fallen brothers woke him right up. He followed closely behind Victoria, adjusting his breathing. Gradually, Noah felt his stamina recovering. He no longer felt drowsy. He never knew his focus technique could be this effective while walking, too. Victoria didn't know that Noah had his focus technique to help him recover his strength and energy faster. The fact that he could endure 3 days without proper rest gave her a higher impression of his potential. Without saying much, they continued to advance at a steady pace until dawn. Suddenly, they saw wisps of green smoke rising from the woods ahead and immediately stopped. Noah panted heavily. Could it be the enemy? Victoria sounded equally exhausted. She leaned against a large tree to catch her breath. It should be. Noah picked up his M16 automatic rifle and loaded the bullets eagerly. What should we do? He couldn't wait to avenge his brothers. Victoria's icy tone cut through his eagerness. Do you think learning a few things makes you invincible? Noah immediately calmed down. She raised her accurate aim rifle and observed through the scope. After a while, she lowered the gun, her face pale. They won't escape. Let's rest here for 10 minutes. Noah wanted to say something, but seeing Victoria's fierce expression, he swallowed his words. She glanced at him. Remember, only by protecting yourself can you harm the enemy. In our current state, rushing in would be suicide. Get the food out. Noah suddenly realized his rashness and cursed himself. Yes. He quickly took out the jerky for them to share. They somewhat recovered their strength after about 10 minutes. They silently stood up and walked forward, checking their weapons as they went. On a hillside, they saw a group of people ahead, gathered around a campfire, eating their food. Noah's grip tightened on his rifle. There they were. The enemy. After days of tracking, the moment of reckoning had finally arrived. But were they ready? Victoria was still weak. He was still learning. And down there sat trained killers who had slaughtered his entire outpost without mercy.
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.